Dude, I am so excited to be speaking to you this week. Wait, hold on. It's so bright out, finally, that I actually need to use my ND filter. Welcome to spring. All right, there we go. What a wonderful YouTuber, right? I start a video by being like, hey, I'm actually excited to be here this week and doing this completely voluntary thing, but this week I'm excited. I don't know, I'm excited because I feel pretty present today. And it's very rare that I feel this present all day and end up recording a video while I'm this calm and focused in the present moment. So let's just get into it. Let's get into the good bits. Number one being, I threw my apartment party and it could not have gone better. It filled my heart with so much joy to bring everyone together. Everyone had an amazing time. Everyone from every single different social circle was like, oh my God, all your friends are so cool. And it was so cool to get that response/reaction from everybody that I spoke to. And on that topic, I've joked about this before. I'm like, I'm a Gemini. I have 15 different personalities. Well, there are friends that know me really well in terms of like all of these different aspects, but they're more rare. It's more often the case that I hang out with people and they know like one or two sides of me. And I've always kind of just assumed that it should be like that, or like people wouldn't get together in a group or in like a big circle because everyone kind of knows a different version of me. It was just an amazing time. I cannot wait to do more of them. Having my tribe, I gave this like little speech and about how like they're my tribe. And when I get older, I'm realizing that that's really important to me, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. Yeah. All right, let's jump into the video now. That's enough of an intro. So my new big goal for the next 365 days of my life is to not have a future. Let me explain. So I think the best way to give context for this is to just go back a little bit. And the funny thing is I don't actually have to go back that far because this is the way that I have lived my life for as long as I can remember. I have sort of wired myself or conditioned myself into becoming a people pleaser, becoming somebody who is always searching for safety, no matter how relatively safe the environment appears to be. I'm always checking over my shoulder, literally physically sometimes, but also oftentimes metaphorically or proverbially. I'm always trying to find patterns and find consistencies that can preserve my right to relax and to get my nervous system into a state or a situation where it can relax and shut down. And so part of that is being unconsciously or, unintentionally hyper aware of patterns. Oh, I do this and it elicits a funny response from that person. Oh, I do this and I get a compliment. And I start to kind of rack those things in, those facts that might just pass somebody and not really become a focal point for them. They become like so ingrained in me. I'm like, do this, there's my reward. And I start to kind of like pile all these chips where I'm constructing a reality basically where I'm just trying to find safety. And I've done this with all of the things in my life. I've done this with trying to establish comforting friendships, better relationships with family members, kind of constructing myself as an ideal employee. I do this set of behaviors and it's rewarded in this way. You get the point. I've done this with practically every facet in my life, sometimes consciously, a lot of the time unconsciously or unintentionally. And it is also something that I've done with finding my purpose. So I have a lot of interests. I've always had a lot of interests. Those interests have not stayed consistent or fixed. Some years I'm like, oh, I want to be this way. And then I'm like, I want to be this way. And I wrote a lot of poetry. So I've always identified as a poet, but I haven't really written poetry in a really long time, like consistently. These facets or variables or aspects of who I am are constantly in flux, as they are with most people, but I would say especially for me. And in trying to kind of figure out what I do with my life, again, ties perfectly into YouTube and starting this YouTube channel and a lot of other things that I am realizing now I just need to completely stop doing, is I find ideas that get really close to, oh, I could really see myself doing this. I construct my reality around this idea that, oh, if I do this, if I become this kind of person, whew, sigh of relief, I'm going to get myself and my nervous system to a point where I'm like, I'm satisfied with who I've designed myself into. I'm satisfied with who I've decided to become. And recently I've realized that the path that I thought I was dead set on is no longer the right path for me, at least for the time being. I thought I really wanted to make these YouTube videos, and after a series of cataclysmic events in the fall of 2021, I realized I don't really have the energy or the mental space or the bandwidth to make these, and I don't really like vlogging, and I don't necessarily love editing. And I kind of really quickly realized, like, well, I committed to doing this for 3 years, but I don't think I'm gonna like doing that. And I thought I wanted to become a mental health coach, so I signed up for my first course in a trauma-informed coaching program, and I loved that. And I was like, this is it. Finally, another sense of relief. I can do this. I'm good at this, and this fills me with joy. I want to be a mental health coach. Whew. Just instantly, like, doing things and finding patterns of behaviors and interests that I'm just seeking, really ultimately, like, the root of all of these things is I'm seeking reprieve. I'm seeking nervous system reprieve and release. I want to get to a point where I'm like, I can relax because I know who I am, or I know what I want. And what I've realized over the last few months or so is that that's always going to be a moving target. And some people are really good at doubling down and focusing on one area because it's their life's passion and it's the only thing that they've loved, and they have this one or maybe two things that they're just like totally consumed by. And I get consumed by things, don't get me wrong, but my obsessions or the things that I'm fascinated by, they burn out pretty quickly. I would say that they burn out faster than they do for most average people. And that's the position or sort of predicament that I found myself in recently, where, I attached. Maybe that's the problem, right? Like, I attached to this idea, like, I'm gonna make YouTube videos. I'm gonna work on this secret project that I've been toying. I'm going to write a book about my life one day. I'm gonna be a mental health coach. Like, oh, and that's an idea. Like, look at this. I'm a person who brings value and meaning to the world, and I can make money doing that, and my purpose is aligned with my income, and whew, what an awesome feeling, Ari. And then I kind of quickly started to realize, like, hey, I don't think I really like this as much as I did a few months ago. We should probably reevaluate that. Yeah, you think? So I started to reevaluate it. And in many ways, I started to reevaluate just as kind of like a byproduct of that. I started to kind of peel the layers of the onion back, evaluating a lot of other areas of my life and decisions and choices that I've made recently, or kind of, when I was on that pattern or path where I was like A, then B, then C, then D, this is great. It felt so good to have a clear sense of direction that I was more focused on the relaxing sense of relief, that I had a sense of direction, than I was ever really pulse checking myself along the way and asking myself, does this feel good in my body? Am I enjoying this as much as I was a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago? And admitting that those answers had changed to those questions is really hard for me. I struggle a lot with failure. I think probably no more than the average person, but to feel like I've had something in the palm of my hand and then need to accept the fact that it has flown away or I've dropped it is tremendously challenging for me, because I'm just seeking that sense of relief that I think a lot of people might have innately, or maybe not necessarily innately, but environmentally they receive that at an early age when they were developing, and so it doesn't feel like something that they're seeking out like a drug. Being able to relax and not second guess and not be people pleasing and managing all of these like energetic expectations on my behalf and on the behalf of other people around me is to me honestly a privilege and not a right, and it's not something that I was just gifted. And to me, it quite literally is a drug. Anytime that, I get that validation, or I get that attention, or I get that kind of reward system that says you're doing a great job because you're making the people around you happy, and that makes you feel good because you feel safe and you feel like you're of value, that's literally a drug. And I realized that I needed to kind of break the cycle. It felt so good to feel like, okay, there's people around me that are focused on the same things, and spirituality is so important to me, and to just have that network and have access to that network and that validation ready, like kind of this pool, kind of caught me into this sort of like morally good place, I guess, where I was just like, this is so good that even if it's like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't second guess it. I didn't question it. I was like, this is good. This is a good thing, and it's going to work. And I have the validation from people that not only just validation in general, but people who I respect and admire and would like to become more like and embody more of how they live their lives. And I fell into that kind of trap, and I stopped really feeling in my body what it felt like and where I was going. And that's a trap that I fall into with people. It's a trap that I fell into in my last relationship. It's a trap that I've fallen into when it comes to friendships. It's a trap that I fall into with my purpose. And if I am going to live a life that really honors me and fulfills me, I need to break my purpose trap. I need to break my validation trap. I need to break this pattern, which is so insidious in my life, where I do things because I'm getting feedback, positive feedback from people or myself, in the case where they're satisfying some sort of need that I didn't get as a kid and I haven't learned how to fulfill within myself yet, that is going to kind of like perpetuate the choices that I'm making or heavily influence the decisions that I'm making. That's sort of kind of what I realized. And honestly, I don't remember the like exact impetus or moment when that hit me, but I think part of it is also just, moving into this apartment and really for the first time asking myself, like, how do I make a home here? And realizing that I did want to make it cozy and I didn't want to think about work so much. And I don't have a massive desk where I have like my big PC and workstation. I didn't want to focus on that. I'm getting a TV in my living room. I want to spend more time relaxing and shutting down and giving myself the luxury of chilling and not falling into this sort of, for me, validation and nervous system relief trap, but also kind of capitalism trap, where everything that I do that I enjoy, I'm starting to ask myself, that's great, I like this, how can I make money doing this? How can I create a salary or create a life around this so that I can escape? You end up in another trap, really, is sort of what I'm realizing. I look at people who have made creativity and their thing, like their craft, their full-time job, and you cannot get around the fact that it makes what you do or we're choosing for fun a job and an obligation. And some people, that works for them, but I know that for the creative passions and ventures that I want to take in life, like writing an autobiography and compiling all my old poems into a book, these are things that if someone told me I have to do them, they wouldn't be better. Maybe I would work on them more expeditiously, or I would, work on them with a little bit more fervor, but the passion is in taking the pressure off. And that's what I'm realizing that I need to do and want to do in my life is consciously remove the pressure from my life. It's not easy for me to slow down and relax. It's not easy for me to be present. It's not easy for me to sit still and feel myself in a moment, because I have a lot of body trauma, and that makes being physically in my body really hard. So I do a lot of things that keep me moving. I wake up early, I go to the gym, I ran a marathon, I have free moments, like the weather's great and I just want to go walk and I want to be stimulated, it's not easy for me to chill, and I really need to learn how to chill and open my eyes fully to my environment if I'm going to live, at least to me, what I constitute or qualify as a full life, as a whole life, as a wholesome, good placed life where I am just so in it that I'm not escaping from, and I'm not running to. I want to be here and I want to enjoy that fully, and it's not something that I've ever let myself do. I mean, I'm staggered, slowly getting better at calming down and being in the moment. But I definitely am only just now scratching at the surface of getting out of the shame or the internal bullying and the ego trap of, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you, being busy? Why aren't you working on that project that you promised would be done 4 months ago? When it's like, I said this in a video or two ago and I left it, and it's something that's going to stay with me forever, honestly, or at least I hope I don't forget that I said it, is if my brain created the rules and the obligations and the patterns, then it can also amend them or it can remove them, right? Like if my brain is the one that went in and created all of this, it can destroy it, or it can amend it and revise it and move it into something that's better for me and better serves me. And that's what I'm doing now. And so the goal for the next year is to just experience my life. Wow, like shocker, right? That's such an insane concept, Ari. For me it is. Because I've always wired myself to try to find that safety. I've always wired myself to try to find a way out. A way that I'm going to justify my meaning here and my existence here. And in some ways, some pretty meta existential stuff that I think a lot of us sometimes wrestle with. But then, we kind of say, oh, that doesn't feel good to think about, so I'm going to scroll on TikTok or I'm going to go do something else. Have shaken me to my core my whole life. Because at the core, I've never felt really rooted or grounded or safe or well because of all the things that happened to me at such an impressionable age and time. And I really need to learn how to undo that pattern and undo that conditioning. And I need to choose to undo that pattern and choose to undo that conditioning. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So the goal for the next 365 days is to not do a single thing unless I want to. Outside of the fact that I did make a commitment to show up weekly and make these YouTube videos. That I will not compromise on, but that's the only area that I will kind of footnote and make an exception for. So I'll just give you an example, I guess. I want to have more dinner parties. Dinner parties have made me feel really good. The fact that I have a tribe and people around me that do love me and care for me to celebrate, I want to celebrate that. I want to showcase that. And if that means having people over for movie night or bring your own joy night, like version 2, or, let's all get together and hang out, or I'm going to seek out joy where I can find it. And I'm going to be way less focused on finding my purpose or what do I like to do that I can turn into income, or what are my passive income streams. I just want to wake up, do what makes me feel good. Right now, I'm waking up at I wake up before 6, but wake up at 5:41 if you want to know. Now you know. Wake up at 5:41 and go to the gym because moving my body feels really good. I want to wake up and I want to go to the gym and I want to do my job, my 9-to-5 job, and I want to sit in it and I want to stop acting like or talking about how I know it's not permanent. I want to just be here for it because you know what? It affords me a lot and I am so grateful to have my job, and I actually do kind of like my job. Like now that I've gotten accustomed to it and I feel like I know what I'm doing and I'm more confident, it's definitely helped me jump out of my comfort zone and evolve. I want to just do that. And if I want to write or I want to read, I'm going to just do those things because I want to do them in the moment. Not because I set some useless deadline for my secret project, or because I'm like, you should move, you should do something. Like, I'm learning how to just tell my ego that it needs to calm down and that if I'm going to learn, basically, like, that I am worthy regardless of what I'm doing as a human being, not as a human doing, the prerequisite to that is that I learn how to just chill and be okay with that. It's not necessarily like my daily life is that different now than it was 3 months ago. I still watch YouTube when I'm done cooking at the end of the day, and I kind of just eat my salad and, I watch TV. But I would just be there, and there's like that low humming voice in the back of my head that's like, you should be doing something right now. You should be doing something right now. Like, you're a waste of space. Like, you should be moving more. You should be working on that project that you promised would be done. And I'm really proud because today was like the first day that I said, oh, I'm going to end my workday. I'm going to make my coffee. I'm going to film this video. I'm going to go for a walk because the weather is gorgeous and I want to do that. And I'm so excited. I'm going to go to the supermarket to get I need more salad, if you needed to know. I need more lettuce. And then I'm going to come back here. I'm going to make a massive salad and I'm going to watch Netflix or just binge watch YouTube. And I'm going to let myself enjoy that. And I am getting to a point now where I'm accepting the fact that all I want to do is enjoy my life. Okay. So I haven't really given great examples, and this video is already way longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like a 5-minute thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to just experience my life and not, set rules or obligations or deadlines or whatever. But wow, apparently I have had a lot to say. Okay, let's keep going because I'm not done. So the goal, the promise to myself, an inner child, and me in totality, is that for the next 365 days, so it's March 16th, the day that I'm recording this, so March 16th, 2022, to roughly March 16th, 2023, 3/16/23. Only experiences, that's all I'm focused on. I'm not focused on how I'm going to generate more income, or how am I going to become a writer, or how am I going to get these things done. I'm not going to find things or hobbies or pastimes that I enjoy and let myself fall into the trap of this is validating. How can I do more? Because just doing what I'm doing for joy is enough. In fact, it's more than enough. It's truly all I need and probably all I've ever needed to give myself. That's it. I'm just going to have experiences. I am going to keep saving my money on budget and be a good human being to my finances and to myself and the people around me. But oh my gosh, if I want to get in the car and I want to just waste a Saturday by driving to another state to get coffee at a cafe that I had been eyeing for a while, that's my Saturday. There's no more, oh, it's Saturday and you haven't filmed. Oh, you're terrible. How are you going to, oh, it's Saturday. But you could do something fun. You could hang out with your friends, or you could be busier. None of that. It's experiences first. It's joy first. It's seek joy. And I want to have a year where I'm like, yeah, I did something this year. And I let myself relax fully. I'm never going to let myself go because I care too much about my body and my mind, and I'm going to meditate and all these things. But everything that I do will have joy at the heart. Joy at the center. That is my centerpiece for the next year. And I am beyond proud of myself.